Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and hopefully have a lot more fun. I'm your host, Paul Sanneman. I'm founder of Contractor Staffing Source. We help contractors build great teams. My guest today is Andrew Coronado from Coronado, I can say this, Plumbing Service Institute. So what do you do, Andrew?
I own a plumbing company in Tucson, and I devised a training program, Coronado Home Service Institute, to use as a training tool in my business and to other businesses, because the simple reality is that training is our future, without a doubt. No matter what trade you're in, no matter what you do, it is absolutely necessary to keep your tools sharp and to train people, your way. And so we allow companies to do that much more streamlined and much easier.
So what does that involve, training? I mean, give me an example. What does the program look like? How long does it take? Who's in it? That kind of thing.
So for us, there's kind of two components. One is the technical skills. We have a physical training center here on site, but for a more call running procedure, more sales oriented training. It's a video-based platform that's online with different, quizzes, worksheets, role play activities, etc. That contractors can log in, run their team through, and achieve training on their time schedule without, sending people to seminars or things like that are a lot more time-consuming and not nearly as cost-effective or with as much longevity.
So how do you turn a plumber into a salesman? I mean, that seems to me like a big transition, because they became a plumber to fix stuff. They didn't become a plumber to sell people. So how do you help them make that transition?
I find that most of the time it's really a frame shift of mindset. We don't need to become traditional salespeople. We need to become better translators of our expertise. And I've found that most of the time, the attitude that a lot of tradespeople, whether it be plumbers or any trade, have towards sales and a negative view comes from their own personal experiences of bad sales. And what I really work with my guys and work with any of my clients is the recognition that sales happen naturally, and you don't even have to think about it like sales, when you just stand in your professional frame. If you seek to visit every client that you have, every homeowner that you have, and stand in your professional frame and educate them and let them know, hey, here's what can be done, this is what I recommend and why, and really put on paper the full array of options that they can do, the tiny little Band-Aid repair to the entire replacement and everything in between. If you do that and allow them to make their choice, the revenue and the relationships and all of the business profit, et cetera, all of it just comes naturally. There's no need to convince, there's no need to pressure, there's no need to persuade anyone. It just comes down to knowing your craft and presenting it clearly and presenting the options clearly and letting the homeowner make their choice. It's really that simple.
Well, how do you know where to stop? I mean, you come into a house and you came in to fix the water heater, whatever, right? And
sure.
But the other plumbing sort of shot, it's outdated, it may be leaking other places. How do you transition from one thing they called you about to more of an overall assessment of everything they might need and make it look good?
Yeah, it's a great question. It really comes down to timing. For me, it's never an aspect of, am I going to bring it up? It's just a matter of, when am I going to bring it up? You always want to address the thing they called you for first. You can build your options based on what is very closely related to it or what is literally connected to it. So they call you for a dripping faucet. It makes sense to potentially offer things like a faucet replacement or things underneath that very same sink. But that's where you want to stop for the time being. During your presentation of what their options are, I like to offer a free water pressure check as well as a free home education walkthrough just to teach them about their system. And during that home education walkthrough, after I do my repair, whatever that repair might be, it opens the door not just to education, which is actually my favorite thing. Most homeowners have never been taught about their system, and they absolutely love it because no one's ever taken the time to teach them about their system. So in teaching them about their system, it naturally opens up those conversations to build off of. And my rule of thumb is not to offer what a client, quote unquote, needs. There's too much judgment involved there. I offer everything and talk about everything that a client or their system can benefit from. Because the simple reality is not everyone buys only off of what they need. There are wants and desires and upgrades to be discussed as well. And if someone, doesn't want to discuss those things, that's perfectly fine. It's really just a matter of at least bringing up the conversation, offering it. And if it goes nowhere after that, quite frankly, we don't have to care about that as long as we're bringing it up. When we don't bring those things up, that's when we're not being in our professional frame. That's when we're not engaging in our professional responsibility and obligation.
Do you use like a checklist, or how do you make sure they cover everything? Do you have like a procedure you teach people?
Checklists are very, very useful. I found that to actually be a little bit of a barrier to the relationship. I like to keep it a little bit more conversational, a little bit more relational, so to speak. So I also tend to focus more so on home safety things or things that could affect property damage and things of that nature. So checklists are fantastic. If a company has a checklist, I'll never tell them to get rid of it. But I like to keep it a little bit more relational and educational, and take little notes either on my phone, tablet, or even just good old fashioned pen and paper as I have those discussions, so that by the time I'm done with my walkthrough, I still have my list of things to, build my options with from there, just so I don't forget anything. But I tend not to get too caught up in the formality of a checklist, because to me, that just gets in the way of the real connection that I'm looking for there with my clients.
So how do you, I'm sure when plumbers come to your school, some of them have some objections to learning how to sell, whatever that means, right? I mean, they
Sure.
How do you what are the typical objections that a plumber has? Like, I'm not a salesman, I'm a plumber. And how do you sort of transition that to education?
To me, that's a beautiful thing, because I don't, again, it comes down to the definition of selling, right? We've all heard many times that no matter what we do in all aspects of our life, we are selling. If we, want to not do the dishes, we got to sell that to our spouses, right? Or whatever the case is.
Right.
But the beautiful thing is I generally tell those folks, cool, I don't want you to sell. The only thing I want you to do is have the professional strength to still, even after the homeowner says, oh, I just want the cheapest fix. Oh, or heck, I just want the biggest fix, replace my entire system. I want us to have the professional courage to pump the brakes and say, cool, that will be one of your options. Let me also show you this, and let me also explain what else can be done for the benefit of you and your system, and then allow them to make the decision. Because the simple reality is they are not qualified enough to understand what they want until they have the information. And it's impossible to make a good decision unless they have all the information. So when someone says, I'm not a salesman, I don't want to sell, beautiful. I don't want you to. All I want you to do is share your profession, share the possibilities with the homeowner from your professional mindset, and let it speak for itself. Let them make the decision. Because if they choose not to bring something up, then in fact they are selling, but they're not selling anything good in that case. So removing selling from the equation is actually a beautiful thing. Just share your profession, share what can be done, what your opinion of what should be done, and let them make the decision with that information in front of them.
Have you got any maybe real life examples of somebody that was, had an average ticket size of X and then went to X plus Y after they went to your program?
Yeah, absolutely. The overall, I say it depends on the start of the average ticket. If someone's starting in that $500 to $700 range, I would expect them to double their average ticket. If someone is starting in that $1,200 to $1,500 range, I would expect them to see growth of somewhere around 50 to 75%. I certainly have plenty of cases where they do double or even triple their average ticket, just kind of depending on where they're at. My training coordinator, as a matter of fact, he started somewhere in that $700 range. When I pulled him out of the field, he was hovering just under $2,000, so almost tripled his average ticket, I want to say, in about 4 to 5 months. What I find the biggest success comes from those that are able and willing to follow a process and to do very similar things. I won't say exactly the same thing, but very, very similar things across all of their calls. The ones that are open to that and can develop that process and stick to that process are very, very, very successful, especially with average ticket.
So you teach the process to basically increase the size of the ticket. If they just follow this, whatever give me what the process, just a short version, what the process actually looks like.
It's basically step-by-step of how to run a call. So everything from doing a little bit of your homework prior, looking up the property, finding out the age, making the initial contact and pre-call with the client, driving up and that initial greeting, being a good doctor and performing good diagnostics prior to, making any conclusions, coming up with options, because that can be a little bit difficult to know exactly. You alluded to how far do I go with that versus what do I mention, what do I not, etc. And then presenting those options. Of course, doing the work, that's not very much part of the sales program, but then after you do the work, making sure you have customer satisfaction and asking for that 5-star review.
Okay. So I guess it was, well, what does this cost? I'm sure training always costs money. So what does it cost to do your program?
Well, I have a couple different levels of the program. I can do just CSR. If I'm not mistaken, that would be $179 a month. And then I believe for the year program of that, I'd actually have to double check. I just raised the price incidentally, so I would need to double check. I'm pulling it up right now. But I have monthly and annual memberships for the CSR course, for just the technician course, or what we call the Total Team Advantage. And that is essentially everything, both the CSR as well as the technician courses. So the CSR course is, excuse me, the CSR course is $179 a month, or my apologies, my.
No problem. While you're looking at now, can I train as many as I want, or is this per employee?
Right now I have it set up. You can essentially train up to each course is up to 10 seats, and then there's per seat cost beyond that. So the booked solid CSR series is $179 per month, or $1,689 per year. The top tier technician is $239 per month, or $2,329 per year. And the total team advantage for both CSR and tech series is $349 per month, or $3,349 per year. It's a video based series.
They can do 10 people through that program, right?
Correct. And then there's a small additional cost for each seat beyond that.
What kind of?
I'm always available. I'm always available. It's a pretty comprehensive program, so questions don't come up super often, but when they do, I always share my cell phone number with both all of my business clients as well as their employees. I make that known from the get-go because quite honestly, if they're not successful, I'm not successful. It's very important to me, and I've been in every role. I've been the CSR, the dispatcher, been the technician, the laborer, the manager, owner, you name it. And so, it's very important to me that this is not a one and done type thing. Training is a constant reiteration of things. And I also like to help people find ways to integrate the training and make it their own. It's not just a bunch of scripts or verbal traps to lock the customer into awkward conversations. It's a real thought process and a real process that everyone can follow. And all of the programs, no matter what, whether it be CSR, tech, or both, come with our leadership series, which right now is geared towards reputation management and getting 1-star reviews either removed or changed to 5-star reviews, but without any refunds or giving money back.
That's a very valuable tool. So do you actually teach anything technical, like how to use the latest, coolest technical stuff, or is it just mostly sales?
The online program is just sales. We do have a program here for those that are local to us, or for any of the employees that we offer a lot of technical training as well. In the future, because I do quarterly content additions to each particular program, there will be more specifics in terms of specifically, how to run a cabling call, how to run certain types of calls. But the current iteration of the program, there's not a whole lot of technical emphasis just yet.
Okay. Great. And if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Well, they can go online to my website at chsitraining.com. They can also call me at 520-329-1973. I'm reachable all the time. I just want to help people. I've lived the struggle in every position, from technician to manager to owner, and it's hard. And I just want to help all of those experiencing those same problems make their lives easier. I want them to learn from my mistakes so they don't have to. And so this program is basically a condensing of 10 years of mistakes and lessons so that they don't have to make the same.
I'm going to ask a sort of off-the-wall question. How do we inspire the youth to get into the trades?
You know, that's a very good question. They need to understand the future in it. They need to understand that you're not just turning the wrench, that we're not, I hate the idea of just anything, just a plumber, just an HVAC guy, whatever. No, it is a valuable skill that not only saves you unbelievable amounts of money and heartache at your own home, but when people have these issues, it always catches them off guard. And it's a very vulnerable position to be in. And so it is a real opportunity to help people within the community, whether it's neighbors and friends or just people you've never even met. It's a real opportunity to help people with a challenge that they just don't know how to accomplish. So
I live with every day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we can get into very lucrative careers in the trades as well. So it's really emphasizing not only the help that they can offer to their community and those in the community, but also recognizing that the future that they have in the trade is so bright and in so many different ways. There is laboring, there is installation, there is sales, there is leadership, there's even, different products to invent and vendors. And I mean, you can go in so many different directions with any of the trades. That's one of my favorite things about it, because if one role isn't a fit, there's 20 more roles that are within the industry and trade that might be a great fit.
Well, I certainly hope some people listening to this are into inspiring the youth to get. I think plumbing is a great career, and I think it's, and AI isn't going to replace it anytime soon, right? So it's like it's a very solid career, right? Thanks. Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I hope.
Thank you for having me, Paul.
If you have a plumbing company, you should definitely give this man a call. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much.